Episode 3 of Uzumaki Spiral into Horror. Or as it's been made apparent with Episode 2, it's not just the anime that's spiraling out of control. It's the production staff, it's the quality, it's the pacing, it's the writing. Not only the residents of Kurozu Town. No, unfortunately, the spiral contamination has reached IRL. It's affected the production staff for a series that's been in production. It was announced 5 years ago, almost six now. It's insane how much the quality drops between episode 1 and episode 2, which I'll admit, it did dampen my enjoyment, my interest, my willingness to come back to this show. But here I am with a penultimate episode. After this, only one more episode. Will Kyrie survive? Who will survive to the end of the show? Will we learn more about the spirals, or will we just have a tragic, sad ending? Will I actually grow to care more about the characters? Will we have a zombie apocalypse from Jack in the Box reviving at the end of episode 2? Are we going to eventually go back to Dragonfly Pond, where the remains of the father of Shuichi's father settled as the smoke, as the smog? Are we going to go to the mountain? Because we had a couple of these areas mentioned in episode 1 and I think even episode 2. So, are we visiting them? Are we going to immediately catch back up with Kyrie? Because undoubtedly she is still alive. She was regaling us with tales of the town in episode 1 as part of the intro for it. But as it has also been made very apparent, she does have a level of plot armor to her. So I'm curious, did Mitsuo, I believe is our little brother, survive? Did any of the other kids, like the ones who were heading down the lighthouse first, did they survive? Are we going to actually have one of our main characters die? Only time will tell. Hopefully with this episode, but I wouldn't put it past them to answer these questions in episode 4, or even leave it up in the air. Again, as a reminder for anyone who doesn't know, this is my very first Junji Ito work, and I am not built for horror. I get squeamish, I get cowardly. I was undoubtedly disturbed by what went down in episode 1. Episode 1 was episode 2. While it was a drop in quality, in interest, in stakes, and in scares, it did have its moments where it disturbed me. It was more disturbing than scary. And I have been told episode 3 seems to find its footing again and at least gets better. But even episode 3 and episode 4 aren't on the level of episode 1. So here I am. I want to see, even if I am afraid, how this will all end. What will happen? How will the stakes raise or lower? How far will the spiral contamination spread? And will I have more nightmares? Very likely, because I am a coward. I am squeamish, and body horror is definitely one of those horror genres, horror tropes that truly gets to me. And I don't know if I'm ready, if we'll actually have something on par with the scissors and fingerprints scene. Either way, I'm rambling. I am excited to get into this, because 'tis the season for spooky after all. And this is a bit of a celebration and an attempt to actually finish the show. So, if you want the unedited version of this reaction, it'll be over on my Patreon, which is linked down below, amidst my social media platforms. Follow me on them, help me grow my community. Every bit of support truly does make a difference. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell to be notified when I upload next. And in 3, 2, 1. Why am I doing this to myself? Okay, so we're at the hospital. Are we catching up with the mom or Kyrie? So she did survive. Eh. Is that how it's spreading? The inner ear? She's improving, but Kyrie only looked like she had a couple of scratches or injuries here and there. But we saw her engulfed in the light, not to the extent the other guy was burning, the child, but she and her brother were falling down the stairs and the light was on them. One of these doesn't add up. I was expecting way more serious injury. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that. We could possibly chalk it up to her getting lucky and being on the far edges, and most of the injuries are falling down the stairs of the lighthouse. But at the very least, she should be burned. I don't like that. It really is a case of plot armor with Kirie. So maybe she'll be the only one from the town to survive, or, live long enough or be sane enough to recount the tales. Oh, yep, you're gonna have to hide it quickly. That almost looks like a snail, too. Embrace the contamination. Okay, so that was a bit of a flashback, but yeah, she's way too uninjured for what went down last time. Oh yeah, she'd try to rip out her inner ears. Oh god. Oh, is it because of Jack reviving as a zombie? Are they swarming around him, or are they coming from Dragonfly Pond? 10 pregnant women. As long as I don't have malaria, I guess. Don't tell me the baby's gonna be a spiral. Oh, all of the bites are gonna be actual spirals. So they're cousins, okay. You've been infirmed and you're helping out your ward mate. You spin it and it causes a spiral. Are we gonna have a Night of the Living Dead with Jack in the Box because Jack liked Kirie and refused to give up on her even though she had a boyfriend? I don't like that. Is this Dragonfly Paw? I recognize you, aren't you? From episode 2? No, you're, Kirie's dad. Yeah, the Potter, or whatever the title is. So he's grabbing water. Is that from Dragonfly? Did he come there and take, I guess, the mixture of the water and the cremation ashes, the smog that settled in there, and he has been contaminated by the spiral, so he is trying to make a piece that is befitting the spiral nature, sort of like what was commissioned back in episode 1, but evolved to a higher extent, because now he understands the allure of spirals, or he's been influenced by them enough. Okay, I think malaria probably would be worse. I mean, actually, not as bad. Completely drained of blood. It's really hard to mosquito-proof, which does suck in that regard. But her eyes opened. Is she being controlled by them? And draining their blood? Does she have, like, a mosquito baby? Kill it. Kill it with fire. That's not good for the baby, though. They laid eggs in her. Nurture the eggs in the belly. She's pregnant. Yeah, he's been contaminated as well. She's gonna turn into a spiral mosquito. Okay, yeah. And of course, I'm watching this at night for the extra atmosphere. I mean, we had someone turn into a slug. I really wouldn't be surprised if someone turns into a fucking mosquito or gives birth to mosquito babies. I mean, I'd still be surprised because that's, fuck that. Normally, you wouldn't want to deal with a horde of pregnant women like this, just walking down the hallway, but they're all controlled by the mosquitoes. They drain blood from the victims and feed them for the eggs in the body. Yeah, those apparatuses, those items are allowing them to drain the blood, to drill in and drain blood. They're the mosquito antennae. You were seen. Kyrie, plot armor gonna kick in? Sorry, dude. It's your time to die. The Kyrie plot convenience dictates it. Give us your blood. Some of those holes don't match the size of the apparatus. Yeah, you should, crawl away, girly. But no one will believe her. Keiko's gonna be with them, yeah. But it's because they're related, she's actually gonna attack one of the other pregnant ladies, maybe? No. Duly noted. If I'm ever attacked by a gaggle of bloodthirsty pregnant women, mosquito spray should come in handy. Oh no. She obviously is very messed up mentally. And now she's gonna learn about the spiral. I kind of almost want to throw up a little bit just about the centipede in the ear. That is horrifying. That's a trauma I've had from Tokyo Ghoul. No one would believe her. Yeah, no one will believe her. She's gonna be targeted. Oh god. Is the mom finally gonna die this episode to join her beloved? Well, that's obviously not fucking natural. Why the fuck are you still in this town? You gotta get out of this town. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Do not be a repeat! We were spared. Well, yeah, you took out your inner ear, you lose your sense of balance, you get dizzy, everything becomes spinny for you, ma'am. Round 2, baby, round 2. And now we're gonna see her face, maybe with the father's face. I don't trust those newborns at all. If the mosquitoes aren't in their belly specifically, they might be in the newborns. That had spirals on it. Dude, Shuichi has seen better days. Was that a spiral mushroom coming out of the belly? Well, Keiko was there. Keiko was no longer there. Are those the same... I know that VA. I might look that up in a sec. But are those the same mushrooms they're just serving at the hospital? Are they cultivating them and then serving them to the patients? Like a self-sustaining or I guess almost like a parasite where it guides them, influences them to just then replicate and procreate and just continue its lineage. Might not be the most accurate terms, but that is fucking creepy. Hold on. I know the VA for the doctor. Toshihiko Seki. I can't... Yeah, Muzan Kibutsuchi. Yeah, Muzan Kibutsuchi from Demon Slayer. Iruka. Yeah, I thought his voice sounded really familiar. And then it makes sense because Muzan from Demon Slayer, and I've been watching Demon Slayer, but his voice is pretty fucking iconic, and it's a bit of that terrifyingness that comes from it, that unease, that like, you can feel something is off. He's a very talented voice actor, that's for sure.
しかし彼らは彼らのへその緒は何度切っても胎盤を再生する。自らでへその緒と胎盤を作り直してまで元の場所に元の存在に戻りたがっている。
So they're placenta mushroom things?
そう胎盤だ。ここで分娩しているうちに自然発生するようになった。
He sewed it back up and put the baby back in there? Well, I'm surprised Keiko's alive, but... Okay. Attack of the Mosquito Woman. So Mitsuo did survive. Now we're gonna go see what the dad's been up to. The food is all gonna involve spirals. Yep. Yeah, on the same wavelength with his dad. So all of the ceramic and silverware and dishes and all that are gonna actually be spiral themed now. That looks like he's... I guess it's all pottery, but he's almost making a doll out of it. Yeah, and there's a father's face baked into it. He's making pottery of the ashes of everyone who gets cremated. They're all like trapped souls almost. They're literally works of agony, not works of art. Literally trapped souls. Are they actually escaping the spiral contamination for once? Typhoon gonna lead to storm spirals. Oh, that bodes well. Yeah, that's the one chick who didn't want to be outdone by Kirie with the hair and everything that fused with the pole. It's cool that we're getting a bit of consistency. Yeah, that's 100% Typhoon.
どういうことだ。もうかれこれ2時間もビクともしないと。
気象庁にもわからないなんてね。何今の。何かしら。誰？
The storm is calling out.
お姉ちゃんを探してるよ。バカね、ミツオ。ねって言ったって本当に目がついてるわけじゃないのよ。
That audio effect is actually pretty creepy. It wants her because she's been surviving. It wants to get rid of her plot armor. When the show itself is sick of your fucking plot armor. After everything that's happened, Kirie, why are you still in town? Why the fuck have you just not left the city for a while? I'm sure there's a level of influence and contamination that plays into it, but come on. Bye-bye! And the rapture happened just like that. Off you go, apparently! I think she's seen better days. Time to run away, like he wanted in episode 1. Shoulda listened to him. Oh yeah, this isn't creepy at all. And, you know, in typical Kirie plot armor fashion, she's gonna survive this. And then this is the poverty house, the poor house, where it's also there's a lot of contamination with. Did they have a spiral incident way back then as well? Who the fuck is living in the walls? After everything you've seen, are you really saying monsters can't exist? He's been watching Kirie. The creeper.
昼間はどうも。ここを紹介してくれた不動産屋に聞いたんですけど、右側の部屋に貧しい老婆と息子が住んでいて、このうめき声はその息子のものらしいです。
え、鬼じゃないの？
そんな噂があるんだってね。で、どうやら持病でかなり異様な富豪なんだそうで、鬼の噂はそのせいみたいだから心配いらないよ。じゃあ。
But you're not saying he doesn't eat the neighborhood dogs.
よかった、鬼じゃなくて。感じのいい青年ね。でも変ね。昼間何度も挨拶に行ったけど、留守みたいだったのに。
多少耳が聞こえにくいのかもしれんぞ。年配の方らしいから。
そうかもしれないわね。
また息子が吠えてる。
違うわ。あれはおばあさんの。
Yeah, isn't it the old woman that's actually watching him through the wall in the sun?
普通じゃない。おばあさんに何かあったのかもしれない。
待ってキリ、父さんも一緒に。俺が見てきます。
おばあさん、どうしたんですか？
She has horns growing out of her. Spiral horns. I don't like that we're not seeing her face. This feels like a trap.
どんな風でした息子の姿。
私も思わぬことはありません。
さっき裏の窓から覗いてみたんですけどね、息子が寝ていたらしい糸に小さな丸い穴がたくさん開いてたんですよ。あれは一体何です？
すみません。話したくないんです。
I had a feeling it was this guy. I was almost thrown off, but damn. He's merged with the wall. Okay, that is actually really cool design. That's a bit disturbing. Once again, Kirie plot armor. Jack in the Box? So he's actually finally playing a role. Intestine Spring. Oh, okay. Well, Jack in the Box was very short-lived. Is there an after credits? There is. So, Spike Dude, Watabaya, I believe.
この町に、私たちに次々と起こる異様な出来事に思えば、私はその頃すでに
which is already fucking odd to begin with. Alright. There's nothing else. No more after credits scene. I got a mixed bag with this. It is a better episode than episode 2. It does feel like it's found its footing, but it's not on the same level of episode 1. I don't think we can achieve episode 1 all over again. This one, in a similar complaint to episode 2, the pacing is all over the place. There is a lot of just back to back to back to back to back to back to back events. And it's to its detriment. Maybe if this series was more than 4 episodes, it would feel a bit more natural, a bit more organic. It'd also feel like it would be more reasonable on the pacing and just how we go from event A to event B to event C to event D to event E to event F. It gets, how do I say this? A little hard to process each jump scare, each horror moment, each crisis when we're hopping right into the next one with almost no time to breathe. Like, yes, I am enjoying myself, but this doesn't feel like it respects me as a consumer, as a viewer. It doesn't respect my time. It feels more for the cheap thrill of it, as if they're just quickly trying to turn a profit, quickly trying to turn a buck. There's several series where I can always feel like the production staff are passionate about the source material they are adapting from when turning a light novel or a manga into anime, when making 2D into 3D, or even just animating 2D into moving 2D. It is remarkably difficult. A lot of money, time, and effort goes into it. But I don't get that vibe from episode 2 or even from episode 3. I cannot feel like they actually give a shit about Junji Ito or even Uzumaki as a manga. And that is not a good feeling to have when I am watching an episode, when I am spending time with these characters, when I am watching everything unfold, when everything is spiraling out of control. It is not a good feeling. It admittedly does taint a bit of my impression, a bit of my enjoyment for a show when it doesn't feel like they give a shit. And it can't just be argued it is solely on the production staff either. Like, they'd been twiddling their thumbs. This series has been announced for 5, almost 6 years now. It was like 2019, late 2019, when it was announced by Adult Swim, by Toonami. And I know there is a bit of fuck-ups along the way. There was shifting blame, there was a lot of scrapping and restarting. But this series is just a culmination of fuck-ups along the entire chain of command. It's not just the production staff. It is very likely also, staff who pay for it, staff who acquire all of the assets, the resources, the human labor, not just the people who animate it, who give their blood, sweat, and tears to deliver a final product, even against crunch time. And even though I have never read any Junji Ito manga or series, I've heard of him before because I have a friend who is remarkably in love with a lot of his stories. He is a very passionate fan. He loves his brand of horror. He loves his brand of crazy. And it's also hard to get away from some of the shows like Gyo, where people talk about fish with legs, or Uzumaki, where what if spirals are evil? But as it stands, because I don't feel the passion from the production staff, it does have me not wanting to check out the source material, because I genuinely don't want to see how different the story is. I am a little attached to Kirie and Shuichi, but I have seen one episode of some shows, and I care way more about those characters than I do having spent 3 episodes with these characters. It doesn't help that Kirie has plot armor up the ass. She has enough plot armor to rival shonen protagonists, and it just ruins my immersion. It ruins my suspension of disbelief because, as we saw with last episode, she was engulfed in a bit of the light from the lighthouse, but here she is, very lightly injured, maybe a broken leg. She fell down the stairs. The stairs did more damage than the light, where not even like 5 steps before her, someone was engulfed in fire and screaming. A child, no less. And we were running past bodies, seared bodies. I'm pretty sure they were even, further down than she was. But Mitsuo survived. She got off pretty lightly. Make it make sense. It might also be a bit of lazy writing from Junji Ito, but when I compare it to a show like Dark Gathering in terms of horror, in terms of atmosphere, in terms of disturbance and unease and nightmare fuel, I have seen 2 episodes of Dark Gathering and 3 episodes. Yeah, 3. There, 3 episodes of Uzumaki. I prefer Dark Gathering, night and day. Even with the remarkable first episode premiere, Dark Gathering beats it without question. It's better writing, better atmosphere, better characters, better stakes, and I have yet to even get into the meat of the story. I didn't feel like I wasted my time with episode 3 because we did see a bit of continuity. The chick with the hair that fused with the pole, that was a rival against Kyrie in episode 2. We saw Jack in the Box make a return. I was actually going to complain about that if he hadn't shown up this episode and didn't show up next episode, because they made it a point of showing it in an after credit scene last episode, and not utilizing him would have been a disappointment. So I'm glad to see him make a return, albeit very briefly, but it was so low stakes, so rapid fire, so almost just slapped on for the fuck of it, that it left almost no impact. I mean, yeah, I thought his intestines turned into a spring for a moment, but no, it's the car suspension spring. The same car that hit him and killed him because he's like, my love can stop this car. And he died. But I feel unsatisfied. I feel disappointed that it was such a lackluster utilization of a zombie in a series that is supposed to be horror, body horror, suspense, a bit of thrill, a bit of unease, a bit of disturb. It really does feel like they're just rapid firing to cover as much content as possible. Not for the fans, but to simply get it off the plate, to turn a quick buck and never have to deal with it again. And as it stands, outside of episode 1, I may never rewatch episodes 2 and 3. Episode 3, yes, was a step up. It is creepier. It doesn't have the greatest of jump scares compared to even episode 1, but the body horror was on point. The disturbing nature was on point. I was seriously afraid we were going to actually see her take the scissors into her ear and all that, but even the centipede coming out of her ear, Tokyo Ghoul trauma revived, apparently. But I still could live without it. I wish every single situation had more time to just flesh it out, to expand upon it, to sit with it. Not to have, 9 crises in one single fucking episode, or however many it was. It's just a number off the top of my head. The typhoon concept was cool. I like that it feels like the show itself is sick and tired of KIRIE'S plot armor, and specifically targeting her with the spirals because she has been surviving the spirals. She's been escaping the spirals. And even Shuichi is stuck around, which is kind of obvious. Kyrie is more obvious, simply because she was at the very beginning of the show recounting us of the tales. So it indicates she survives until the end of the show, which is a disappointment because sometimes I like a show that isn't afraid to kill off its main characters, even if it does hurt. But if Kyrie dies, if Shuichi dies, I don't think I would shed a tear for either of them. I have a moderate interest in them, and that is being generous. They are very much a plot device. They are a means of moving the story along, of going from plot point A to plot point B. Outside of that, they don't have much value. And that's not good writing. That is not good characters. I don't know if Junji Ito operates more on the scare factor and just gives a passing thought to the character writing or the story writing itself instead of going from jump scare to disturbing moment to creepy moment. I don't know. I've never read his works, but this does not leave a great impression, even if this isn't the best adaptation, even if it is a crime against Junji Ito in terms of anime adaptations. I'm not inclined to buy the manga. I'm not willing or wanting to read the story for myself. And I don't know if I want to check out any other Junji Ito work, especially if Adult Swim and Toonami are involved, because while I have not seen Ninja Kamui and I have not seen Lazarus, it really does feel like they are a sign, an ill omen for the anime. I've heard decent things about Lazarus, but even then, a lot of people went in with high expectations and came out with moderate acceptance of what they saw with decent enjoyment. It fell short of expectations, and Ninja Kamui is Ninja Kamui, and I can't believe it has a season 2 and I think a season 3 announced. I need to watch at least the first few episodes so I can fully understand the outrage. But Adult Swim may be a curse on productions when it comes to anime. I will, yes, finish out Uzumaki and hope, at the very least, episode 4 is the most satisfying conclusion to a series that has fallen from grace, as much as we can allow, as much as we are willing to accept, that it can tie everything off in a neat bow, that it'll be worth my time, my effort, but as it stands, even the penultimate does not have me excited. I'm not really gonna have too many nightmares about most of the jump scares, most of the horror we saw in this. And when I come to a show wanting to be scared, even though I'm not built for horror, even though I'm a squeamish coward, even though I don't like horror, yet I like horror, this just feels wholly unsatisfying. I don't know. I think I'll end it there because I'll just continue to complain. I may have some positives I could mention about the episode. I mean, the placenta mushrooms was a really messed up, really fucked up concept, but cool. Hearing the babies talk, seeing the pregnant women, a lot of those scenes were really cool, were really well handled, and the animation does seem to have an uptick compared to episode 2. But episode 1 was, they literally made diamond. They achieved massive success with episode 1, and then episode 2 was a shining turd. Episode 3 is the very least between that. I don't think we'll ever hit diamond status again. We'll even hit gold status, which has me very sad, because imagine what this series could be. And I'm saying that as an anime only. But again, everything was so slapped together, so back to back to back, it ruins a bit of the purpose of jump scares, of horror, where you're supposed to sometimes sit with it as part of the atmosphere and process. But here I am, and I'm like, okay, that happened anyways, or I'm cracking jokes more than I'm being afraid. That's not a good sign unless, it's a comedy-focused horror, but these are supposed to be horrifying situations, like the chick who got sucked up into the typhoon. That should have been a bit horrifying, but it just felt goofy. It's not a good sign. But I am glad to be continuing Uzumaki. I am glad to see how this series concludes, and I am glad to have, at the very least, given my time with these reactions to experience Junji Ito for the first time. What did y'all think of episode 3? What did y'all think of my reaction, my commentary? Am I valid with my complaints? Was episode 3 better than episode 2 for you? Not just artwork, animation-wise, but even the story, the scares, the creepy factor, the messed up factor, the disturbing nature. How was it for you? I would love to hear your thoughts down below. And when you're done leaving a comment, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell to be notified when I upload next. If you want the unedited version of this reaction, it'll be over on my Patreon, link down below, amidst my social media platforms. Follow me on them, help me grow my community. Every bit of support truly does make a difference. This has been AlduicS, and I will see you all in episode 4, the finale of Uzumaki Spiral into Horror. Peace.